Okay, we're live on YouTube. Look at that. This is amazing. How you doing, Soonie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I decided now that I'm going to start doing some more like one-on-one conversations, or even in the future, more people. So the name of this segment is going to be called Candid AF. So you are my first guest on Candid AF, which stands for Adam Francisco, not as F. It's
Damn,
pretty creative,
okay.
huh? Pretty awesome,
It
right?
is. That's a nice wordplay. I dig it.
Right? All right. So before we get into this, why don't you, so for my audience who's going to hop on now, they're probably going to get the notification soon. But in the meantime, yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, like who are you? You know, what are you about? Where do you live? Give me the basics.
Well, I am Soonie Blanks. I am a military spouse who just decided one day to start opening my mouth to talk about what was going on in the country. And what's crazy is it actually like picked up steam and I went real quick. And then right after January 6th, all of my things just got shut down, shadow bans, and I just completely lost most of my audience, but I still have a lot of it. But I'm just I don't consider myself conservative, liberal. I'm an American, and I like to call out the inconsistencies on both sides, which people are not exactly comfortable with because
Nope.
they're used to buying into their same political party line BS. So
Yep.
that's really me. I'm a no nonsense person.
So hold up. You January 6th is the day that you pinpoint that your account was shadow banned.
Yes.
Wow.
Uh
That's crazy that they
it
literally like
was
you found the date, or at least you think you did, that your account was targeted, censored.
it was. It
Wow.
definitely was. I went actually it was when I showed a video of Trump, which is nuts. And it was his some speech he was doing. I think it was about social media. And they flagged it for spam. I'm like, what the
Oh
heck's not
wow.
spam?
Was that
Okay.
the one about was that the one about his lawsuit? Because I remember he was doing a lawsuit against social media right around then. It might have been that
I
video.
think it might have been.
Yeah.
It was something crazy that was going on with him. And I was you put Trump up, you get snatched down. It was something that was going on in Italy when everybody was very just like back and forth about the election, what happened here, what happened there. And there's a ton of information coming out from Italy. So I'm like, let me put
Yep.
this up because this is very interesting. That video alone shut my YouTube down completely.
So you how many YouTube subscribers did you have?
I had like 3K and I was still
Dang.
building. I was monetized. I had between all my social media, I had over 50,000 followers and subscribers, and it all just went to crap. It went to crap, and I was just, what is going on? And then, as the year went on, I started to see more things with the Republican Party I didn't like. Of course, you don't like what Democrats do because they are communists. Don't care what anybody says. Um, and I kind of just found my own lane from that point on. But January 6th definitely like and before January 6th shut me all the way down completely.
Wow. I mean, for me, I think once the election was over, that's when I saw a 95% decline in my audience and my traffic on YouTube, which I think is a combination of the election was over so that people were less interested in political content,
Uh-huh.
but also I for sure know that I'm shadow banned on YouTube, where people don't get notifications, people don't know I upload videos. I get comments all
Mm.
the time where people are commenting like, I haven't seen you on YouTube for months, but I'm like, yo, I make a video almost every other day.
Wow.
So it's kind of like it's crazy the amount of suppression and shadow banning we're doing that they're doing to us, accounts like us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like for YouTube, are you going to start a new channel, or are you just kind of like screw YouTube?
No, I started a new channel. I'm gonna start over from scratch. Um, it's annoying, but it is what it is. I like the grind, and plus, I think I found my own lane. I'm not the conservative that I once was. I
So
was
you're
like
less
gung
conservative now.
ho. I I think I just like to get away from labels because people want to put you in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
You're conservative. You got to be this, 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 and this. And it's like, no, I'm going to be who I want to be.
You know, a few months ago, you were hopping on an abortion live stream on.
I remember that.
I don't even know how to put that. And for me, that's where it starts to get tricky, and it makes me realize that I'm not a true conservative. And I think that me and you actually are on the same page here, because me and you are not abolitionists. I don't think, right, from what I remember. And what was that guy's name? He's a famous
Tyler, that's the homie.
Tyler.
Bluntman.
That's right. He's like, he wants to make abortion fully illegal,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a criminal act if you were to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I remember you were kind of on the same page. That made me uncomfortable. I don't know if we should criminalize it per se,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I haven't been able to jump that broom yet of criminalizing it. I'm definitely against abortion.
Me too.
Look, I think it should be illegal. This is just me. But people are going to do what people do. Can I stop somebody from going to get it? No, that is their right. We all have free will. People have the free will to go and shoot somebody in the face if they want. Does it make it right? No. But they do it. So for me, I have not hopped over that broom of, okay, let's criminalize this and make women accountable on a criminal level. Do I think there needs to be some accountability? Yeah, I
Absolutely.
really do, because most women they're not using it for the reasons that they advertise, rape and all these other things. They're using it as a form of birth control.
Yeah, it's Plan B.
Yeah, essentially what it is.
Yeah, which I think is, I think that's disgusting for people in general to just flippantly treat life like it could just be flushed down the toilet. I mean, people have to realize that every life that's conceived is brand new, unique DNA that will never, ever, ever, throughout the history of time, the next trillion years, will never be reduplicated.
Right.
Even if it's the two same parents trying to conceive, they will never reconceive that child that they decided to terminate. And personally, I was adopted at birth by a family from the U.S., and I was born to a very poor mother here in Mexico who couldn't afford me. And then when she asked my grandparents, my biological grandparents, for assistance, they could not afford to give her any. So to me, I was the perfect target, quote unquote, person of color, poor, that the Democrats see, or at least the founder of Planned Parenthood sees, as a weed that should have been eradicated.
Yep.
As she lovingly, Margaret Sanger, as she lovingly referred to us as. Instead, I'm here on a YouTube on a Mac with all my iPhones and my Soonies, and I'm living life in crypto. And so I just feel like this is proof that even if it's unlikely that a child will be adopted by a loving family, you got to give a chance for that outcome to happen.
Yeah, it's a life, and you don't know what's going to come from it. It's crazy. I just had a conversation with a young girl. My Instagram audience is becoming very diverse with younger people, majority younger people, which I love because I want to be able to talk to them. But I said, women are irrational. And she's like, no, we're not. I said, you're not. So I was asking her a bunch of questions. I said, how do you think about abortion? She's like, oh, well, it's my body. Okay, so what do you think about it? And she was so desensitized to the facts of what an abortion actually is. So I asked her a straight up question. If it's not a life, then why are you terminating it? And she was just stumped.
Exactly. What are you terminating exactly? If it's nothing,
it's a clump of cells. Like, what are you terminating? And she's just like,
wow.
I get it, but it's still a woman's choice. And if she wants to fix a mistake, and I'm just like, this is what's being peddled to the young people. It's a mistake. You can change it. Just go get an abortion and life will go back to normal. But they don't understand the lasting effects of it. There's a mental effect on you. There's a physical effect on you. I happened to get one at 18. Of course, I was forced to go get it. I didn't want to.
So you're open about your abortion experience.
Yeah, there's no reason to hide it.
It's good. I respect that.
I think I was 17, 18. Of course, it was with my husband now. We were dating. We were high school sweethearts. And I made a irresponsible choice. And my mom didn't say, you need to grow up. You're about to be a mom. She said, go get an abortion. And you either get an abortion or you get out. those are my options. I had nowhere to go. We're teenagers. So when I tell people my story, they tend to like kind of gain more of an understanding of why this act is it's barbaric is what it is. There's nothing empowering or freeing about it. It's a very traumatic experience. Very much so.
How early or late were you when you had that, when you went through the process?
I was like 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks. But
And
you know what they do? They show you everything on an ultrasound. So you see your child before it's gone.
That's crazy. So, I mean, I'm not too familiar with. I mean, I could look it up right now if I wanted to. But at 5 weeks, a baby already has a heartbeat at that time. Is that right? Usually,
as early as 4 weeks. Yeah.
And they kind of have the outline of the shape of the body, like you could see the head and everything like that. Wow, yeah. That's crazy. And how today? Fast forward to today, 2021. How do you feel now that you are anti-abortion and more on the conservative, I guess, side?
I just use it as a tool to tell people, like, look, young women, it's hard being a parent. I have 3 kids. I'm married. It's still hard being a parent. You're never ready to be a parent. I don't care what anybody tells you.
You have 3 kids right now?
I have 3 kids, yes.
I had no idea. Here I am thinking that, like, for this young 20-year-old social.
No, I'm 31. I'm an old lady.
I had no idea. I thought you were just like this 21-year-old, like single content, not single, but like, content creator with like this young husband.
Nope. We have 3 kids. Wow. And of course, I think about it. I'm like, well, there's supposed to be 4 of you, and there are times where I might get down, but I've forgiven myself. Like, these were the options that you were given.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it now.
Right.
I did it. I regret it. I think it was a very bad decision. But I'm here now. It's 2020. I'm 31. I've got 3 amazing children. I've got an amazing husband. And life is good. So I just remember it. I don't grieve it anymore, but it's like, it's always in the back of my head. Like,
yeah, I hear that. And your husband is currently serving, is that right? What division is he in? Military?
He is in the Air Force.
Wow, that's awesome. So he's not colorblind like I am, because I know that if I tried to join the Air Force, they would do the colorblind test and I'd fail. So I could never be a
No, he's a crew chief, and he fixes the F-15s and sometimes the 18s. So he's a mechanic. He works on the fighter jets.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the service, obviously, and you're obviously there to support him. So thank you as well to being a military wife. Has he met any of the presidents so far?
No, but you know what? We went to a Trump rally to like the end of 2018. Yeah. He came to Charlotte. And you know what they do? They see a Black person, they're like, yo, do you want to sit behind the president? And we're like, oh, yeah. So we got to sit behind him. And we had one of Trump's original Make America Great Again hats, like the golf hats. We had the original one. And he saw us and he pointed at us and he's like, I love your hat. So that was like, kind of like I was starstruck. I can't even lie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Recognize me.
I want to meet Trump so bad. He's on my list of people that I want to get a picture with. I would say the number one guy or celebrity that I wanted to meet was Stan Lee, who created Spider-Man and X-Men and all that stuff. And I ended up meeting him at an airport. He was on my flight.
Nice.
And so when I met him, I couldn't even speak because I wasn't even starstruck. I was like God-struck, because I've always seen Stan Lee as like as a god.
Yeah.
I feel that if I meet Trump, it would probably be the same thing, where I'd have a panic attack. You know
I know. I've been around no. I've been around stars most of my life. My uncle's Billy Blanks. So I've been around a few like legends. So for me, it's just like, wow, like you're in the flesh. It's nice to meet you. I think I would have a whole conversation with him.
Wait, Billy Blanks. That is, I know Billy Blanks.
That's my uncle.
Wow, he's like that fitness guy.
Yeah, Tybo.
That's right. Oh my God, that's so cool. So speaking of celebrities, I know that you are very close to a lot of them. Because I see you're always live streaming with Loza Alexander. I see you're always live streaming with Bryson Gray.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Bryson Gray and Loza Alexander are independent artists, right?
Yep.
They have zero backing by any major mainstream label. Okay. And they were able to produce songs, right? Let's go, Brandon, that made it to the number 1 and number 2 songs of the charts.
Yes.
Where they beat Adele. You would think that the mainstream media would be like, these 2 black independent artists overcame Hollywood or whatever the music industry is and be at the top. And it would be this huge like story, almost like Jeremy Lin when he became like the biggest story in the world. And yet there's nothing from the mainstream media. Instead, they insult the songs. They call them juvenile songs. And they're like, we cannot wait for Adele to be back tomorrow. You've seen that, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What the hell? I mean, it's obviously because we're on the wrong side of the political spectrum. Is that right?
Yeah, it goes against the narrative. You know, Let's Go Brandon was a very, very telling view of how the country feels about the current president. You know, it's not just conservatives. It's not just Republicans. There are Democrats that are like, what the fuck, bro? So the fact that mainstream media doesn't want to pick it up, you know, you had the conservative news outlets that were talking about it. You had Alex Jones, Fox News, but I don't think either of them were shocked like, man, they're sitting here shitting on our song. They have to. They have to because they have to paint a narrative. Biden's the president. You can't show a good portion of America saying F you. What else are they going to do? But you know what? It's undeniable because people have seen the clip. It went viral. Loza went number 1. He went viral all over TikTok. Bryson's number 1. He's not on TikTok anymore, but he's on Instagram, Twitter. He's all over.
He got thrown off TikTok?
Yeah, he got kicked off of TikTok when this is actually me and Bryson's introduction. We were on opposite sides of the aisle when it came to LGBT stuff. I had a friend of mine who was gay, and me and Bryson were Bryson had put something on TikTok, and we actually got to chop it up and talk, and I'm like, okay, I get your point. And from that point, a lot of gay conservatives were just spamming, reporting his stuff until they completely kicked him off of TikTok. That's crazy. That's actually me and Bryson's introduction. We were low-key beefing for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Wow. You know, that's I've heard about coordinated TikToks where they basically they team up and they report your account, and TikTok had no choice but to remove you. That actually happened to me last week. I got a message saying, bro, you just got kicked off TikTok. I checked my account. They said I had violated community guidelines. And so I appealed and I won the appeal. I'm back on TikTok. But I hear that if they do it a second time, you're permanently gone. Like there's no appealing a second time. And so the bottom line is the mob can just report you and then TikTok just removes you and that's it. And they don't understand like this could be an income stream for people. Like when you're content creators, the most valuable thing that we have is eyeballs on us. That's the most valuable thing we have. And when they take that away, I have 41,000 subs on TikTok. I've had TikTok for 2 months. But when they take that away from us, that is such a huge, it hurts us so much.
It does, man.
Like when you had those 3,000 YouTube subs that were just gone like this, they don't give a shit about us.
They don't. That really kind of put a like a bad taste. It was like a dark cloud. I'm like, I don't want to create content. I don't want to have to work to do all this over again when I literally did nothing for you to remove me. But this is the world that we live in, you know, big tech censors. So for me, I'm a fighter. You can censor me on any platform you want to. I'm going to pop up again on somebody else's profile. I'm going to be on somebody else's show. It really doesn't matter. So now I sort of take pride. Like I've gone through 4 Instagrams. I was almost at 4,000 followers on Instagram. I've gone through 3 Facebooks and I've rebuilt my audience. So it is what it is. They can
Right.
keep snatching us down, but there are too many people to keep track of.
Right. You know what's crazy is for all this. I mean, I share a lot of my thoughts on Facebook, my personal Facebook. For those of you guys watching, if you want to follow me on my personal Facebook, go ahead, be my guest. It's an open profile. That's where you see a lot of my thoughts in real time. Um, but like for all the shit that I've said on Facebook against COVID, against everything, I haven't been put in jail yet, and I'm surprised by that.
What?
Yeah, because, I mean, I've had some features removed. Like, for example, there's certain groups I can't post in where it says you cannot post in this group anymore. And that's fine. But as
Huh.
far as my ability to post and use Facebook, they haven't really touched it too much, which I don't even
Wow.
understand how I've stayed under the radar. That when
You're
I have
lucky.
4,000 personal friends on my Facebook. But yeah, my Facebook's been fine the whole time, and
You're lucky.
I hope it
No,
stays that way.
I can scratch myself and say boo, and they're like, boom, 30 days.
Do you think it's
What did I
because
do?
do you think it's because you are a black Trump supporter and that threatens their narrative?
I think so. And more so now, because I've been shadow banned on Facebook too. Um,
I'm shot about on Facebook. That
you
for sure.
are?
My posts get 1 or 2 likes now. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's because I don't sway to either side. You can't box me into anything. So when I do put something up, it's very jarring. I'm like I don't stir the pot, but I'm gonna say what you're afraid to say, and I have
Right.
no problem saying it. So when I come out and say something that's just like jaw dropping, and a lot of people react to it. Of course, you have people that report my stuff. There's trolls all over, but that's the only time I usually get flagged for something. If I say something about Trump, I don't really get kicked off. I could talk about COVID, but if I say something against the norm, like today, I put up the what the FBI is doing to parents that were fighting against CRT. They started counterterrorism moves against them. That got shadow banned out of the world, and I'm waiting for them to send me a you violated community guidelines, because I know it's coming. It is what it is,
That's
but that's the only
crazy.
time.
So they're calling parents against critical race theory, which critical race theory in and of itself is racist because
Yes.
it basically breaks down people into the oppressed versus the oppressor category.
Hmm.
According to critical race theory, Soonie, you're oppressed, I'm oppressed, and we're supposed to be victims, apparently, to the white man, to the white devil. Oh. But I personally take huge offense to this because my parents are white, and my brother's white, and my family's white, and I grew up in a white household, and I personally haven't really seen much racism. Now, I will admit, my grandfather, who was a Sicilian man, he did say some racist shit. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah.
But it's also the time these people came from.
Hmm.
70 years ago, 60 years ago, everybody was racist, and it was totally normal. It was almost like,
Yeah.
as Louis C.K. said, when someone would say something racist, the other person would be like, "Hey, I was going to say that." I was. And so, like, that's just the era it came from. But besides my grandfather, who was a crazy man, I take offense when they want to tell me that my parents should have white guilt, and that my
Yeah.
parents. It's nonsense to me, right? How do you feel about critical race theory?
Um, pretty much just like you said, I didn't really get into it. Like, I didn't really dive into it. I just very briefly looked over it, and it's just a perpetual victim mindset that they're peddling. They're teaching white kids to be ashamed of being white, black kids being ashamed of being black, brown kids ashamed of being brown, and I think it's a detriment to the country. There's nothing wrong with observing history. Observe it. But when it becomes a problem is when they start attaching those tragedies to people in 2021. Like, I call it stolen valor. You are stealing their valor of the hard work that they put in, and you're attaching it to people now and telling them to feel bad about something that happened hundreds of years ago. We have progressed so much as a country, and this is the only way they keep us divided. They have to keep talking about race. They have to, like, throw gender stuff in there, feminist stuff in there, because we're all separated by something. Everybody has a label, and if you don't fit into that, then you're kicked out. People are very much so tribal now. That's what I think of when I think of CRT. It's forcing people to be tribal and form groups and alliances that don't really make sense.
Yeah.
It, there's no reason for it.
Yeah. You know, I my family, again, I'm Mexican by blood. My family is, very white Europeans. My family, they came from England on my dad's side back in
Hmm.
the early 1900s through Ellis Island. And one of my, I guess my great grandfather, when he came through, he had, from what I've heard, he had like $1,000 cash on him when he was coming
Mm.
through Ellis Island. Back then, I mean, $1,000 is a lot of money today, as you can imagine.
Facts.
And his goal was to take that money and start a corner store in, New York City somewhere. But he got robbed at once as
Wow.
soon as he got to the US. So I think about that and I think two things. Number one, with that money, let's assume he opened a corner store, you know. Dwayne Reed, Dwayne Reed in New York City, that store Dwayne
Hmm.
Reed, or a Walgreens, or all these stores, right?
Okay.
Walgreens, they all started, a lot of them, as corner stores. And then they just became big, massive, multi-billion-dollar conglomerates.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, like, that's my white ancestors, through my adoptive family. They were robbed, they were stolen from, they had their lives changed. Does this mean that 100 years later now, my dad, who does pretty well for himself, he's retired now, but is my dad entitled to reparations for what happened to, like, my great grandfather 100 years ago? It's kind of
You
like,
got an argument. You got
it's
an
it's
argument.
it's a shitty thing that happened. It's a shitty thing that happened. But what did he do? He just said, you know what, I'm going to have to find another plan, and he did. And my family's doing okay. So exactly what you said. It's kind of like, we can observe the past, we can learn from it, we can appreciate it, we can respect it, we can try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But reparations, it's like, I don't know. It very makes me uncomfortable.
It's
Um,
unnecessary. It really is. You can't throw money at a problem and expect for things to just mysteriously be fixed. One thing we're suffering from, not just the Black community, but I can only speak for that because I'm not a part of any other community, is we have very, very, very bad culture. Thomas Sowell is like one of my favorite people on planet Earth. He observes life, economics, everything through culture. That is all this is. If you have bad culture and you don't have that drive and that push of your family instilling certain things in you, you're probably gonna have a shitty life.
yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy part, is when you start to have that discussion, which everything you're saying is 100% true. It does come down to culture. It's very easy for the left and, for the unwoke or unawake. I don't want to use woke, for the unawake and the unaware, to just be like, that's racist that you're saying that their culture is bad. But it's like, well, then you're absolutely right, because when you look at black immigrants in America, right, versus black Americans, black
Mhm,
immigrants do very well in America. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're highly educated in their home countries. They
mhm.
have fathers in the household. They believe in family, religion, and hard work. And they don't have, I'm sure they listen to some of it, but they don't have that rap music that we have in America
Yep.
with, I'm just gonna say it, if the YouTube censors block me, whatever. Wet ass pussy, wet ass pussy. It's like that's, I mean, that's supposed to, is that culture supposed to help anybody when you talk about wet ass pussy? Like, what does that teach people? And I know it's not just black women listening to wet ass pussy, it's people of all colors. But
Yeah,
it's just like, you're absolutely right. It comes down to the culture.
yeah. That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's and you know what? Hip hop and black culture is a product. Um, One thing Joe Biden said a couple of months ago, he said blacks are not diverse in thought, and I went, hmm, we're not. So why do we have so many affluent blacks? You have blacks that live below the poverty line. You have middle class. You have some black people that don't even listen to rap. You have some black people that don't even identify with a lot of the things that are being pushed from the left. We're a very, very diverse group of people, but we buy into a product that has literally been presented to us, and it's not even who we are. Most
What
black
you
folks, but I hear it. Most black folks by nature are conservative. We believe in the traditional family. We believe and Jesus, whatever you believe in, respectfully, but it's a product and we keep buying into it, which keeps us in this constant perpetual hamster wheel of being like, I'm a victim. It's like, no, you're actually not. If people would just observe, remove your feelings and observe life, it would be so much easier. Black culture is a product. It has nothing to do with being black, like absolutely nothing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And, obviously it's great to hear, you saying that. I did a video on my TikTok about this. And yeah, the comments, it's interesting because they ultimately, and I actually can see this argument a little bit. A lot of people blame the white record label owners for pushing out that type of music. And I've heard stories of black artists that wanted to do non-thug hip hop, but then the record labels were like, no, you must do thug hip hop because that's what sells.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, is there a gun to their head? No, they're choosing to chase the dollars over their own community, and that's where I'm just like, no, that you can't blame the white record label owners when people are still they're getting paid to sell out. That's what it is.
That's facts. That's facts.
Sell out their community. But that's why I respect guys like Bryson Gray because he says he's doing like putting God back in rap. He's doing Christian values back in hip hop. And he became the #1 chart. He beat Adele. That's freaking crazy to me that he did
something for everybody to be proud of. I don't think conservatives really understood what that meant. Just for culture in general. It doesn't matter what race you are, but for culture in general, for 3 black men, because Topher was up there too, to take those spots from a establishment artist, because that's what she is. It meant something. And me personally, I've been, me and Bryson talk all the time. I'm like, keep recreating that. Keep putting out dope songs. Loza too. I'm actually working with Loza in a collaboration with one of my really good friends. His name is Jay Luciano. I used to run an indie label for mainstream rap. They're on 2 different sides of the political spectrum. So I'm like, imagine those 2 rappers on a song together, going at it, spitting facts. How much would that be for culture? Once again, could probably be another #1 song because Loza, he's out there now. Everybody knows who he is.
Have you ever heard the song by, I think it's how do you pronounce his name? Joyner Lucas?
Joyner Lucas? Yeah,
he
it's
did
my
the song
favorite.
I'm Not Racist. Have you ever heard that song?
Yep.
That to me, and if you try to watch it on YouTube, guys, you're going to get it's going to say it's a censored song because they use some hard N-words in the song. Let's just be honest about what it is.
Yeah.
But that to me was kind of like along the lines of what you're talking about, a powerful song of 2 different perspectives. Now, the difference is this was done by one man. You're talking about bringing 2 guys in from different perspectives.
Yes.
Which I think would be super powerful. That'd be awesome.
Excited. We'll see how it goes.
So you're definitely going to be doing that.
Yeah, I've already talked to him. Like this is like my big brother. We've been friends for forever. Before I was ever on the internet, I was working with him and I'm like, look, do you want to do something for culture? And he's like, yeah, I'm with it. And I said, look up Loza Alexander. And he saw Let's Go Brandon. He's like, yo, that did numbers. 5.4 million views on YouTube, by the way. And I'm like, I think it will be awesome if you guys collabed on a record. You don't have to agree, but you can you can both present your perspectives of what's happening in America. And I think it would be awesome, especially for the younger Black generation and my generation, to see different perspectives from 2 awesome Black men, so that you're not. It's just to offer another view, because most of the time we are just fed BS from the media. In our families, it's called generational curses. Like, people ask me my story. I didn't like white people. I felt like white people didn't like me. And I was taught that from a very, very early age. I voted Democrat and had no clue why. So those 2 on a record, would be amazing. Loza's red pilled, and Lucha's red pilled to a certain extent. He's a very smart and intelligent person, but he does cater to the mainstream hip hop side. So
Well,
we'll see. I can't wait till they get on the record together.
if you want the backing of the establishment and you want the corporations and you want to have a chance of being on Rolling Stone cover, you kind of have to do that.
Yeah,
That's the battle
it's
that
true.
these artists have in their head.
It's
You
true.
know?
And unless you are just a fire artist and you just put out bangers, kind of like what they did, and take the number one spot, and you're consistent, I absolutely think that can happen, because more than anything, we are the consumers. We drive culture. We drive everything in the entertainment industry.
Yep. And I think Tom McDonald is another example of an
Yep.
artist that's kind of consistently put out some sick hits. And he's collaborated with awesome creators like Blair White, who I love Blair White. I know she's a trans woman, guys, but I think Blair White is beautiful. I don't care what anyone says. I will admit that openly on a public forum. Blair White is freaking hot. So Blair White, if you're seeing this, you're hot. You know Blair White, right?
I do.
Yeah, you've seen her. Yesterday, they had the most epic podcast. Did you see Tim Pool? Do you know Tim Pool?
I know what Tim Pool is, but I don't watch him.
Okay, so yesterday on his podcast, they had Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Blair White, Drew Hernandez, who was one of the guys at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, one of the witnesses, and Tim Pool, of course, and Michael Malice, all in the same room on a podcast yesterday.
Wow.
I was like, that is so mind-blowing, the amount of awesome people they had. Just for the record, guys, that's the video if you guys want to watch that we were talking about earlier. Joyner Lucas's I'm Not Racist. I can't actually play this song because I will definitely get my channel taken down. But if you guys do want to watch this video after the live stream, go on YouTube, search Joyner Lucas, I'm Not Racist. And super
song.
powerful song.
Very dope song.
Get that off the screen. So have you been keeping track at all with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial? I think you said earlier you kind of had it.
No, I gotta be honest. People are gonna probably be like, "What the fuck?" I don't think it's important in the grand scheme of things. I think a lot of what's happening is a distraction to keep people from, paying attention to what the government is doing. There's a lot of different things going on behind the scenes while everybody is consumed with Kyle Rittenhouse. The one thing that I will say is, of course, I believe he acted in self-defense. That's just it for me. When it first happened, I talked about it, but now more so, I'm like, no, look at the FBI. They got counterterrorism tabs going on. Congress is meeting about Afghanistan. We just had a 1.2 trillion piece of legislation pass through for quote unquote legislation, and the majority of it has nothing to do with legislation. Hyperinflation is coming. There are so many things that Americans need to be concerned about. And just like I said with Gabby Petito, America's got 99 problems, and Kyle Rittenhouse ain't one of them. It's just not. And people have really been like, well, why are you not talking about it? Why should I? There's more important things to be focused on. There's more than enough people talking about this. You don't need me speaking about it,
Right.
So I haven't really paid attention to the trial. I think I posted one video of Gage pretty much snitching on himself, being like, well, yeah, I made a threatening move and it was self-defense. But that was the extent of me even paying attention to it. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I remember your post about, I think, Gabby Petito. I think that triggered a lot of people, right?
It did.
Yeah, because everyone was, I mean, look, I personally, I don't, I could see how people thought race had something to do with it because she was a pretty white girl. But then I also thought, well, the thing that interested me was more so the breadcrumbs that were online. Like looking at his Instagram, looking at her Instagram. Then there was the YouTube video where maybe their van was spotted in the background. So to me, it was, and this might be wrong, but it was kind of like a real life murder mystery. And to me, that's the part that I think made it so mainstream. But at the same time, there were a lot of brown and black people of color missing as well that got almost zero press. But the good news is the Gabby Petito case did kind of act like it had its own gravitational force because it brought a lot of those other people to light as well.
It
So,
did.
so I think that's the good news about the Gabby Petito case. The bad news, of course, is that Gabby was never found and she obviously was murdered. And it probably was by the hands of the man she called her boyfriend, is what it all looks like. So it's a
Yeah.
shitty ending for all of us, right?
It is. And you know what? I talked about a young girl. Her name is Lauren Cho. She had the exact same circumstances in her disappearance as Gabby Petito.
Oh, L.
So yeah,
Lauren L.
Lauren
Cho.
Cho. I was like, I mean, if we're honest, there is a certain look. There's a certain look that you have to have when there's a police interaction. You got to be black for the media to put it on TV. It just is what it is. For the nation to pay attention to a missing woman, got to be a pretty white girl. It is what it is. Do I think it's racist? No, I think the media picks and chooses what's going to bring them ratings. And even though Lauren Cho has the exact same, pretty much the same story, Gabby Petito took the nation's attention. But we have to recognize that this is the media doing what the media does and remove your feelings of, well, this is racist. And when I put it up, I'm just like, you know, there are thousands of girls that go missing just like this girl does. Why are we spending so much time focused on this? And once again, what's going on behind the scenes? What's the bigger picture? That's me. I'm a big picture type of person. I'm a long game type of person. I'm going to look at something and say, okay, well, what are the effects of this? What's coming? So you can prepare people, because it's sad. It's horrible. But in the grand scheme of things, like, it doesn't affect us personally, and it doesn't matter. What matters is America's being destroyed while we're so fixated on very surface things.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We do care about a lot of things that maybe it's just for the marketability. Maybe it's just for the viral shares. Obviously, I mean, that's probably a big thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, another sad ending. Looks like Lauren Cho, she was identified, and it looks like she did pass away from strangulation. So you're right. Gabby Petito looks like died of strangulation, and it looks like Lauren Cho did as well.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they were both, it seems to be like in hiking type mountain territories.
Yep.
So there are definitely some similarities between the two cases. And yeah, I mean, look, if you're a woman on this platform watching this channel, you know, make sure you really know what you're doing if you're going to go hiking.
Absolutely.
And, make sure if you're dating a guy, you better fully trust that guy's ass if you're going to go hiking with him. Because as we've seen, like with Gabby Petito and Lauren Cho and many other women that I've seen in the news missing in mountains, that seems to be the one place that people go, and it just really gives them a lot of time to get away, because a lot of these bodies are not found for 3, 4, 5 weeks later, which means these criminals get a 5-week head start where they could probably leave the country in that time.
Yeah.
So to everyone watching, you got to protect your six, watch your back, because that's just crazy stuff. One of our followers just said Soonie is a beautiful color of patriotism. Look at that. He doesn't see black, white, brown. He just sees patriotism, and that's what you are.
Good, man. We need to get away from that. We got to get away from race. I ruffled feathers once again with my sentiments on Biden using the word Negro. And I was just like, you know, where I come from, that word is something to be proud of. Like, you're not ashamed of being called that. It literally translates to black in many other languages. So when I see conservatives responding, I said, you guys are playing identity politics. Like, this is what the left does.
Yeah. I mean,
it's proper context.
Yeah, because I do know that the league was called the Negro League.
Oh, the Negro League.
And so in that regard, when you look at it in the full context, it was actually properly used, the term that when he said the great Negro of the time or of all time, whatever he said. So I do think, and I agree with you on that one, that that was a big backlash by conservatives. However, I mean, look, you're absolutely right, though. Them reacting to that is exactly what the left did to Trump when
Yep.
Trump would say things that weren't racist at all. My issue is if the liberals were so freaked out about Trump saying things that weren't racist, but they made it seem, they should have been also freaked out about this.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, within the context, it really wasn't that bad what Biden said.
Right.
Right. I'll say that this wasn't really the biggest gaffe in the world. This was really.
Look, if he would have said Nigger, I would probably be on putting content out like, what the, and
He'd
why
be
aren't
impeached.
liberals saying anything?
He'd be impeached, I think, if he said that.
Exactly, but he didn't. So I'm just like, we got so many other things. I'm like Trump, right? Trump got into office and they're like, yo, Trump. And he's like, bro, like they're trafficking children over here. They're money laundering over there. Like, what? Why are you looking at me? There's so many other things that are going on.
Yeah, exactly. I was at a restaurant today and I was talking to a yoga girl. I'm not going to mention her name because she's a yoga instructor. She wants to keep her shit private. But she admitted, she goes, I'm going to admit I voted for Biden and within 1 week I regretted it. Looked at my husband and said, what have I done? What have we done?
Wow.
And she said she is 1,000% voting for Trump in 2024. And if not, she's going to vote for any Republican that runs because she says that it was the way Biden's handled COVID, for example. She said it's become impossible to ignore the hypocrisy of the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was so happy to hear that. The best thing to hear is I voted for Trump. The second best thing to hear is I voted for Biden, and boy, do I regret it. So we're going to be seeing a lot of we're seeing
Biden's
a lot of
remorse.
What do you feel about? Let's play Democrat game a little bit. Since you are a black female as well, what are your thoughts on Kamala Harris? Obviously, you must love her and appreciate her, right?
No, I don't think much of Kamala. I got to be honest. I think they pandered to get the black female vote, and it's look honestly, if they would have picked Stacey Abrams, I think I would have been like, well, damn, at least she worked for it. Kamala Harris hasn't done anything,
Well,
she's
Kamala Harris has worked for it in her way.
She's worked for it in other ways.
I'm not going to say any more than that, guys. She worked very hard.
We call her Hills Up Harris.
Oh,
I think everybody can get it. I used to call it camel toe.
Oh, Kamala, yeah,
But,
I can't repeat that stuff.
No, Kamala is what Kamala is. She's a pawn. She's like Biden. They're a pawn. This is Obama 3.0. That has nothing to do with anything else but Obama finishing what he started. So I don't pay attention to things that aren't going to affect the country. Like Kamala, for a while, I'm like, she's going to take over. We all know she's going to take over, but it's going to happen when it happens. I just hope everybody's prepared. For all the people that are like, I want to feel my president, you are going to regret you ever said that. Right. Watch what I say. This lady's died. She's a communist. Just period, point blank. She's a communist.
She shared that. And right after around the election time, she shared that video on Twitter, which was about equity, pure
equity, yep, versus equality.
Yeah, and it was like out of the communist playbook, without question, about equal outcomes. I saw a meme recently, and it said that leftists believe that everybody should end the race the same way. Republicans, conservatives believes everyone should have a fair start.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's the biggest difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats want participation trophies for everybody. And Republicans say, may the best person win, irregardless of gender, color, just best person win, meritocracy all day.
Yeah, I agree. I was just to give pushback because this is who I am. Republicans absolutely have that thought pattern, but they don't do anything to create that environment for people.
Yep.
They sit back and they're kind of just like this.
Yeah, do nothing. Most of them do nothing.
Nothing. Nothing
Yeah.
at all. And I think we need to. We spend so much time repping politicians, kind of like when you wear your favorite teammate on your back and you're like, oh, this is my favorite teammate, I'm gonna go hard, da, 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 da. And they get in office and they do absolutely nothing. They only cater to the people that they're pretty much lobbying special interest groups. I don't know if you saw my post on the RNC forming a pride coalition with the log cabin group.
Oh, I've heard about this. I've seen a lot of pushback.
I was like, what are you doing? You're gonna piss off a large portion of your voters because you're once again you're playing identity politics because you want to get votes. Like, bro, you know what Obama said this in a speech a couple weeks ago when they were getting ready to vote in Virginia. Why can't Republicans put forth policy that everybody's going to either agree with or not agree with? You know why? Because they have none. I couldn't even push back on him because it's obvious. Present some policies that people are going to be okay with and like, and stop pandering. The left panders already. There's no reason for Republicans to be pandering. Like, for me, it was just like someone like a slap in the face. Like, yes, we believe in traditional values. Yes, we believe in the sanctity between man and a woman. Do I have a problem with gay people? No. Like, do your thing. But I don't want to know what you do in your bedroom.
Right.
Why do I need to celebrate you being gay? Why are you brave? So when the RNC did this, I was just like, there's no identity on either side. Both sides are just trying to get votes. And at the end of the day, the demographics that are actually lifting you up and propping you up, you know, Black conservatives came through for Republicans. And for them to form this fucking alliance,
Is this the
I
poster?
gotta admit, yes. This is the Rainbow Coalition that they formed. And I'm just like, can we make sense of this? Like, why are you doing this? And the RNC has not spoken out and said much of anything about this. And it's because the voters just willingly go with the flow. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, they can do this. I think you guys need to really, really, really research who the log cabin group is, because they fought to push the LGBT agenda. They sued the government for don't ask, don't tell. They fought in California for teachers to be able to openly display their sexuality and teach. Okay. They have Richard Grinnell made a statement that said anybody who has this thought pattern, such as I do, you're intolerant and you need to be defeated. What do you mean? This party has been what it's been forever and you want to infiltrate it and change it to be tolerant of you? Like, it didn't make any sense. And I put it up and a lot of people were like, you're homophobic, you're this, you're that. I'm like, no, I'm not. But this is a very important question. How do you make sense of this? If you're for the sanctity of marriage, then be for it. Don't go pander to a group and then when people start asking questions, you have no answers. We got questions. Make sense of this.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in your comments are like, Trump has sold out. DeSantis has the boldest leader for change. Someone said Trump lost their vote.
Yeah, people are pissed, man. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, I don't have a problem with gay people. I really don't. Like, do your thing, bro. Just don't push that crap on me. But when you form an alliance with a group that has been pushing an agenda, you know, I can't get behind that.
Yeah, I'm definitely. So I tell people on my channel a lot about this. I lived in Thailand, so I was surrounded by a lot of trans women all the time. I mean, you live in Thailand, you see them everywhere. It's just a big part of the culture out there.
Yeah.
I have no issue with it. I really don't care. It's like, you want to be trans? Be trans. You want to be gay, straight? I don't care. But to be pushing this agenda down the throats of our children, which I think is going to lead to confusion. I think
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have a lot of girls who are going through the tomboy stage, which I think a lot of women go through.
Yep.
I don't know if I could even say tomboy anymore, but whatever. Um, and now they're being told maybe you're trans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is going to cause a lot of problems for these kids in the future.
Yep.
Um, my brother, he's got a young kid in Seattle, and they were this. I might get the story wrong, but from what I remember, teacher was asking my nephew, like, "What do you identify as?" And he was like, "A boy." And the teacher was like, "Are you sure that's what you identify as?" And now the kid's like, "Yeah, I think so." And it's like, why would you introduce that shred of doubt into this kid's like why?
Right,
It's like he
man.
said he's a boy. Leave it. You're good.
And why are you asking? Like, that's not your place. Look, this group is pushing that right there. That teacher probably has maybe they're gay, straight, bi, whatever it is. And now you feel like, well, I can openly be myself, so just gonna talk to my students about it. No, man. I had the same incident in school with one of my kids. I picked my kids up from school. My daughter said, "Mommy, what's non-binary?" And I'm like, "What?" I know what she's talking about, but she's 7. I'm like, "What you mean?" I said, "Well, what do you think it is?" And she said, "I don't know. This boy said he's not a boy or a girl. He's nothing." And I said, "Look at, I got 3 kids." I said, "What's your sister? Girl? What's your brother? A boy? God made us men and women. There's nothing in between that." So I reached out to the school, and luckily the school was very supportive of what I was saying, because I said, "This is inappropriate. This should not be talked about in school." And her teacher, the principal, the assistant principal, they were very supportive, and they handled the situation. And it turns out this little boy acknowledges that he's a boy, and his parents, his mother, is telling them that he's not. And my heart broke, because he's like, "I want to go to the boys' bathroom. I'm a boy." But your mother's telling you, "No, you're not sure what you are."
That's
These are
child abuse.
7, 8-year-old kids.
That's child abuse.
Exactly.
So are these your kids go to school in Japan? Is that right?
Yeah, they go to school on base. Yep.
Oh, okay. So the on base, is it like American schooling system, pretty
Yeah,
much?
pretty much.
Oh, so they
But
basically
they
have a
don't.
little US in Japan.
Yes, it's like a mini city. The base is you have everything you need on a military base, but you're just in another country. But what's amazing is when you're overseas, they don't push the same thing that they push in the States. These kids are out here and they're learning. They have fun. My kids don't come home complaining about bullying or any other crazy things that go into school. They have a very, and it's sort of a bubble. They live within a bubble. They're children. They're treated like they're children, and that's it. Their teachers are amazing teachers. I wish kids in the U.S. had the same experience that my kids have, because they're well traveled, and they have a wide variety of what culture is. But I was not ready for that conversation. I was fuming. I'm like, "Yo, is your teacher pushing this in school? Like, what's going on?" I sent the long email, and I'm like, "This is not okay." But like I
Good.
said, the administration, the school administration, they were very, very, very supportive. And the teacher is supportive. She's actually conservative, which
Hmm.
is like in my book. I love this lady.
Hell yeah. That's one of my family members says that base schools were great for his kids too.
Yes, they're
Uh,
amazing.
Do you guys, your family, you ever get to leave and go out into Japan? Like, what part of Japan are you guys in?
We're on Okinawa. This is an island. We're
You're on
like,
Okinawa?
yeah.
Yo, that's cool. So here's a trivia fact for everyone watching. Okinawa is home to the most centennials anywhere in the world. The centennial is someone who lives to 100 years old. And the
Yes.
island of Okinawa has the most globally in the world. And a lot of the reason why they believe it is because you guys have these water springs. Your water source is
Hmm.
alkaline water. So the first thing is you have a population drinking alkaline water, which is anti-cancer. That's the
Hmm.
theory. Um, and secondly, in Okinawa, they don't have the word retirement in their language. So
Yep.
the Japanese people in Okinawa, they never retire. And so that keeps their mind sharp throughout their entire life. They all feel like they have a purpose. So
They're amazing people.
is
Amazing.
everything I said fact checked correct?
Yeah, it's true. They are very hospitable, respectful, amazing people. Like, the way they treat the youth here, you have neighbors that will go to the corner. They're not paid to do any of this and make sure that kids cross the street. You know,
That's
you
amazing.
got people that are in the city. You know, kids walk back and forth to school. You'll see some as long as old as 5 years old walking by themselves, and there's an adult to help them and not take advantage of them.
That's
I
amazing.
love being here.
What's it like for you guys as Black Americans living in Japan when you go out and, socially? Is it, because I know you're not in Tokyo like that, but what's it like?
I'm an American. They don't say, "Oh, Black lady." They're like, "Oh, American," and they're excited about America.
Because I've heard Black Americans, like when they go to some countries in China, for example, they're treated like basketball players or celebrities or hip hop stars.
Yeah,
Where they're like,
they do.
We get a photo with you. Are you Kobe Bryant? And it is. So have you experienced that at all in Japan?
I have.
You have?
There's my husband's work friend. He's married to a local, and she's so enamored with me. She got to see my social media, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is you!" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Can I have a picture with you?" And we went camping this past weekend, and she probably took like 20 pictures with me. It was so funny. It's like,
so it does happen.
Yeah, it does. They like seeing Americans. It's something new for them. They look at America on a TV, and it's this big thing to go to America. So when they see an American, yeah, you're somewhat like a celebrity in their eyes.
Wow, that's crazy. I've been to Japan 3 times in my life so far.
Nice.
And I want to live there at some point because
Go for it.
It's clean, it's respectful. The subways are so peaceful and modern. From what I understand, in Japan, every subway line, at least in Tokyo, is privately owned by a corporation. So
wow.
each subway line is treated like they actually have stockholders and shareholders. And so they each try to outdo each other in terms of speed, cleanliness, on-time performance. So you end up having beautiful stores, beautiful trains, on time. I mean, it's opposite of New York City, which is run like a freaking, I don't even know, like slums. It's disgusting. Have you ever been to New York?
I went to Brooklyn when I was younger.
Oh, there you go.
My family's military, so I was at Fort Hamilton out there.
Oh, nice.
That's it. Yeah, I've been to
So
Brooklyn.
you've been all over the world, and you're in Japan for 3 more years?
Yes.
And then what happens at 3 years?
So we are hoping to either extend being overseas or be West Coast when we come back.
Why not Florida? Why not Land of the Free?
Florida. Honestly, I need to be somewhere where weed is legal. All right, that's
Florida. It's Florida is legal for if you have your medical card.
See, I don't got all that. I just need to be able to go to a dispensary.
You know how easy it is to get? You know how easy it is to get?
No, I don't. Is it easy?
So, oh my God, yeah. I was just dating a woman. You guys watching probably know who I'm talking about. But I was dating a woman who like wrote weed prescriptions.
Wow.
And she kept like trying to give me one, and she kept saying like, "Hey, how's your back today?" And I'm like, "My back's fine." And she'd be like, "No, but how is it feeling? Is it sore? Do you have like soreness in your back?" And I was like, "Look, I don't personally, I don't smoke that much weed." I was like, but yeah, it's super easy. You could just go to any weed doctor in Florida and just say like you have a bad back or you have, you're stressed.
No, we wanted to try the West Coast because I'm from the East Coast. I've been all over the East Coast.
What part of East Coast?
It's a different feel. I'm from North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
South. Yeah.
Charlotte's North Carolina. Have you been to Charlotte recently?
That's where I'm from.
Really?
That's where I'm from. Yep.
Dude, so Charlotte, I was there. I was dating another girl this year in Charlotte. You guys don't know who she is because I never put her on my socials. But I was dating this beautiful Chinese American girl from Charlotte. Oh, I liked her so much. And I went to Charlotte to see her, and that city's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
But artwork everywhere. You got all these different nightlife areas.
Did you see? So there are tent cities in Charlotte.
I didn't see 10 cities. I just saw like a lot of different restaurant areas.
Where were you? Were you in the uptown area?
I went everywhere. I went uptown.
Okay.
Very dog-friendly place to be.
Yes, it's being built up Charlotte's come a long way. It's a beautiful city. Very
100%.
beautiful city. When you
Yeah.
go to certain parts, like you go to East 7th Street, and that's going towards the Uptown area. And you get on 77 when you're on Independence Boulevard. If you look to the right side of the road near Music Boulevard, it's called Music Town. Tent cities
Really?
everywhere. They had to clear it out. I have to pull that video up again, but they were clearing out tarps, and there were rats just everywhere, man. The leadership in that city is freaking horrible. I cannot wait until they vote governor. I can't even think of his name, man. I hate this dude so much. He's the worst governor we've ever had. Terrible.
So I'm seeing it says that they had to do that in March. They had to clean up the 10 cities.
Yes. It was bad.
Charlotte, here it is right here, guys. Cleanup efforts are underway at the site of Charlotte's 10 City, which is almost like LA's Skid Row, right? The homeless encampment right outside Uptown that was evacuated last month due to a rodent infestation.
It's nasty, man. There it is. That's the video. It was so gross.
Why rats at Charlotte's 10 City are a public threat?
Make the news make sense. As we mentioned today,
Gross, man.
Your Uptown must be evacuated. The reason, rats have taken over the place. It's a problem seen at homeless camps across the country, and it creates a unique and real public health danger.
Yeah, she didn't show me this.
Dirty people there.
That's crazy. Yeah, she didn't show me that when I was dating her. She showed me all the. She showed me all the
nice areas.
Oh yeah, I saw the train that runs like through the city. The train tracks.
The light rail, yeah.
Oh, light rail's awesome.
You were in the amazing parts. Like, look, all of Charlotte is great. I love my town. But if I'm honest, we have very bad crime rate there. The gun violence is out of control. Our inner city is terrible. There are certain parts of the city that you just don't go to. It's just
really,
but yeah. You don't go to the east side. You don't go to Tuskegee Ave. You don't go to West Tyvola. You don't go to the west side of Uptown. You just don't do it. I
didn't see those sides. She's probably gonna kill me for showing this, but she doesn't watch my channel. Let's be honest. There's me giving her the Joe Biden sniff. Watch, here comes the Joe Biden sniff. Joe Biden sniff. I literally told her in the video, I'm like, I'm about to sniff you like Joe Biden. She was smelling good, so I gave her the Joe Biden sniff. Anyway, please, if you're watching by any chance, don't get mad at me for showing that. But anyway, yeah, Charlotte's really cool. I could see myself living there at some point in the future. It's a nice city.
It's an up-and-coming city for tech. If you are big in tech, that's the city for you to be in. They're really up-and-coming with a lot of cool projects. Like, I love it there, but I can't live there. I can go visit.
You're from there.
Because I've lived there for so long, I'm like, nah, I'm good. We'll go somewhere else.
What do you do now for work? Do you work now, or do you have a full-time job or anything?
I got a trade in CompTIA and cybersecurity, but I've decided to put my full attention into creating content. So
yeah, I
could use my trade, but it would be like me working a job that I don't like, which nobody should do. Like, don't just go get a job for the hell of it.
Right. Unless you're financially struggling and you have no choice.
Yeah.
It's like
you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, I haven't had a job in about over 4 years, almost 4 years now, around there, give or take. Just because I have crypto and stocks, and I take as I need from those accounts. Mm-hmm. But I do think, and this is my theory, come 2022, next year, being an election year, I think political YouTube channels are going to explode as they did last year. Because what happens is YouTube starts to get ad revenue from politicians. Mm-hmm. And in order to maximize those ad accounts, they need to pump out as much political content as possible. And so last year when I launched my channel before the election, I was getting 90,000 views a day on my YouTube channel, which translated to about $450 per day that I would hit those numbers. And Joe Biden was running ads in front of all my videos. So I was basically getting paid from Joe Biden on my videos. So I think
Okay.
next year, I think it's a good time for you to get back on YouTube and start to rebuild your audience.
Yeah.
Because next year, I think that we're all going to explode again. I'll probably double my audience quickly next year at some point.
Thanks for that
And then
tip, man.
hopefully,
I'm trying to come up again.
I mean, look, if I could start generating $200 a day on YouTube, that's all I need, and I'll be able to be full time. That's all I need.
Yeah.
$200 a day. Come on, audience, start sharing my channel and start, just getting the word out there, because we're shadow. People like us are shadow banned.
For real.
Freaking
Shadow ban
sucks.
like a mug.
I know. Let me pull your channel in again for everyone who's watching. If you guys want to follow Soonie Blanks, the middle child, number 2, because she's been wiped many times. This is her Instagram for you guys. She posts a lot of, I love these graphics that you've made for yourself.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I've seen a lot of, big Instagrammers do that, where they have like their branded posts.
Yeah.
What facial expression is this?
I was bored, and one day I was like, let me just make something that's funny and that's going to catch people's attention. So I
it's freaking so cute.
blew up my cheeks.
It's so cute. So if you guys want to follow Soonie on Instagram, here's her page. She has her no chill zone, and this is where she basically just candid AF, which is the name of this segment.
Yeah.
So this is when you were talking about Joe Biden using the word Negro. Help me, please, I'm lost. When did Negro become a racist?
People were like, yeah, I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I heard,
that was
my folks saying
unnecessary.
it.
That was unnecessary. That was just ridiculous backlash.
It was for no reason. No reason.
Oh, here's the gay mafia is taking over the Republican Party. LOL. Why people so quiet?
Yeah, people got mad at that. So many people. I lost like 100 followers from talking about this. They got mad. I'm like, are you gay? No. Well, why are you so upset? Like, what's the problem?
They're scared to be associated with perceived anti-gayness. Even if it's not, you're just making an observation.
Yeah. See, that's the only Kyle Rittenhouse video I put up. Outside of that, I don't talk about this dude.
Yeah, that was funny as hell when the guy basically admitted that it was self-defense.
Yup.
There's our boy Brandon Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this. I've actually met this woman a few times. See, I call her woman,
Man.
but I met her at events. She's Lady MAGA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Lady MAGA.
Me and Bryson we've been ostracized for our sentiments on Lady MAGA. Which, look, everybody's entitled. You'll be all right.
What do we got going on here?
Oh, I talk about Black culture. Stop degrading yourself. And she's like doing it was gross.
Who's our target audience here?
This came from a Baller alert, which is targeted towards Black people.
Do Black men love them this thick?
Somebody does.
Is it? I mean, what's the? Is it a physical challenge, like a feat of strength? Because I'll be honest, I'm not physically attracted at all to this. My pants are flat right now. As a matter of fact, my penis is receding. It's succeeding right now. It's being withdrawn. But I don't think I could handle it, nor would I want to. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, this is just not healthy.
She went viral.
Am I losing my mind here? Like, this is not healthy.
This is what I talk about.
Yeah, you're a straight shooter. That's why I like, talking to you. So, yeah, everybody, if you guys want to follow Soonie Blank, Soonie Middle Child, check her out on Instagram. Here is her link once again. And, you got to put on your big boy pants if you're going to follow her, because she gets a little spicy.
Yeah, your feelings will get hurt. I'm not the person you want to follow if you're sensitive.
So follow her, support her, since we keep getting shadow banned. We got to stick together, this little coalition that we all have. And obviously I loved talking to you today. And we have another podcast, by the way. I have a podcast called the T&A Show that I host with my co-host, Tara Shapansky from the Polish American Brotherhood. So we'll probably also have you on that at some point in the near future.
Awesome, man.
We've had guys like Darius Mayfield. I think you know him.
That's my buddy. Yeah.
Billy Prempeh we've had.
That's my dog.
Yeah,
Shout
he's
out to
awesome.
Billy.
And he went super viral. He had a really awesome viral piece this year.
Yeah.
Danielle Ray, we've had on as well. The Bryson Gray's housemate, because they're in a content house or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, obviously, we're definitely going to have you there as well, just because
Awesome, man.
you're a straight shooter, and I like that.
I appreciate it. It was fun
Very
talking
good.
to you.
Yeah, of course. So everyone watching, thank you again for joining us on the first episode of Candid AF. I'm going to be turning this into a podcast, which you'll be able to find on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, but that's probably going to take a week or two. So look for it there. But again, thank you so much, Soonie, for talking to me today from Japan. It's so cool. Japan and Mexico in the house.
Thanks for having me, man. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. And we'll definitely reconnect again.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you later.